Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. We are going to jump right in and introduce our remote learning task force that is here. There are actually several things we've done around remote learning. We recognize that there are issues and concerns in the school community around remote learning. And I created a remote learning liaison who will be Mrs. Hines, who will introduce herself. We put together a remote learning task force. We're going to talk today about pilots. We're going to talk today about accountability. We're going to talk today about some of the work we are doing and forging ahead with remote learning. This is a year unlike any other. You've heard me say that many times, and we are building this thing as we move forward. It has been arduous, and it's not just in this district in Sachem. It's all over the county. It's all over the island. It's all over the United States, where people are in a program that they haven't been in before. This is not a university where we are set up for distance learning or online learning. This is public education, K through 12, and this is something, again, that has never happened before with this type of work that we're attempting to do. So I know there's been difficulties. I know we've asked people to be patient. I know we've asked people to be flexible, and I know all those things. The time is running out for folks, parents, kids. I know when we're talking about our youngsters and their education. So I've appreciated the support. We have areas where I think we're doing very well. We have areas where we need to shore up, and that's why, again, we have a remote liaison, a remote task force to really go at these areas of concern. So I'm going to introduce Erin Hines, Mrs. Hines, who is our liaison. That is the point person. That is the one who's going to guide all of our work in this area. So, Mrs. Hines.
Thank you, Dr. Filteri. So I think most of you know me, and now having this new role, I'm very honored to continue moving forward to making sure that our remote learning program suits the needs of all of our learners and our staff. So for today, the goal was to, because, each day we are answering phone calls, emails for your particular child, and we'll continue to do that. But today's goal was to really give more of an overview to the common questions and issues that we are receiving, hearing, and know that you would like to have addressed and spoken about. Following this, we will have some follow-up forums where we will be gathering questions for more areas that you'd like to see some more support in. So thank you again for your patience.
Mrs. Hines, can we make some of those, as we move forward, more interactive, these opportunities for folks? I know that was a concern.
Yes. So what we're thinking that might work best is to reach out to our wonderful PTA and SEPTA to help us again gather questions from families that are a little bit more in depth, not for your particular child, because that still would be more of a case by case. We can talk to you individually, but we would like to set up within the next 2 weeks. So before we start, I would like to go around our table just so that you can be introduced to everybody who is on our task force. And these are all the people that are on the team making sure that things are happening. So we'll start with you, Mike.
Hi, Michael Emanuel, Network and Systems Administrator.
Good afternoon, Jack Renda, Administrator for Instructional Technology.
Good afternoon, Letisa Graham, Director of Guidance.
Hi, everyone. John Charamonte, Social Emotional Learning Chairperson for Sachem.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dennis McElhern, Executive Director for Special Education.
Good afternoon. My name is Marie O'Doherty. I'm a Director in the District for Instructional Support and Assessment for Humanities.
Good afternoon. My name is Danielle Moran. I'm also the Director for Instructional Support and Assessment for STEM.
Hi, I'm Kelly Salima, and this is Kristen Stroh, and we are here from the Sachem Public Library.
Thank you so much for coming in and our strong partnership with our public library. So just to begin lightly, just to reiterate our models that we have presently that we will continue to build upon for our remote learners. At the elementary, all of our teachers, all of our students have been afforded Google Classrooms where Google Classroom codes were given out. Now presently for our special areas for the elementary school. And daily would be postings of resources and any other items related to lessons that students would be learning. At the elementary level, we have elementary remote learning teachers Those are in separate classrooms. And then our special area teachers are also working with those youngsters. At the secondary level, each student who is a remote learner is still on the schedule and roster of the teacher that is in the classroom. And that was to really minimize, the back and forth and confusion as that can happen with secondary with more classes that students are taking. On top of that, we are starting to meet, we have been meeting weekly with all of our remote learning teachers at the elementary level on things like professional development, scheduling, resources that they're posting, and just general Q&A. And Ms. O'Doherty and Ms. Moran will talk a little bit later on, and Mr. Renda, about our professional development. At the secondary level, I meet with our instructional chairs or leaders in our departments to also, again, monitor and see how things are going, lessons, grading, all of those things that we know are going to pop up as time moves on. And then lastly, we'll also be beginning, as our committees start to take off at the Board of Education level, I run our Curriculum Council Committee, and an arm of that will be our Learning Task Force and monitoring all of the remote learning that's going on. And so people from our community, our staff, students can be present on that, and we would encourage folks that want to have a voice in that. And that will be both remote and in person. So anyone feeling uncomfortable coming in can certainly join us via virtual. I'm going to pass it over now to Ms. Moran and Ms. O'Doherty, if you can speak just a little bit about the professional development opportunities and other items that we have for our parents.
Thank you. So as far as professional development goes, we are really concentrating on supporting our elementary remote teachers, specifically in math, in technology, and so forth. We do meet weekly with those teachers to support them, to provide resources, to really help them understand what resources would be best to support the students in those Google Classrooms. In the beginning, we really did start lightly so that everyone could get acclimated to the new form. But they will start seeing new software being used within those classrooms for their students. We have programs such as Reflex Math, which is for math fluency. We have Zern, which also supports our Sachem math units. For science, we have things like Pebble Go, which really incorporates literacy as well, and Mystery Science. So hopefully you'll see those items showing up in your Google Classroom in the next few weeks, and your students will begin to be acclimated to those programs as well. Marie?
Sure. To add on to that, we work closely with our department chairs as well on a secondary level. So for example, with the ELA chairs, we work closely with them on the reading inventory and the Read 180. That's both for in-person learners as well as our remote learners. And we work with our social studies chairs to make sure that the students at home are being supported as well with content that ties in closely with our Google Classrooms. Our K-5 teachers, specifically grades K-2, we're supporting them with a new platform called the Foundations Fun Hub, which is came out from the Wilson Company, and it helps to support learners at home. So again, it's not just a Sachem challenge that we're dealing with. There are many students at home across the country who rely on Foundations for phonemic awareness and phonics. So we're trying to make sure that our teachers feel comfortable with this new software product that's available. We also piloted HeadSprout over the summer so that our teachers would feel comfortable using that to launch the new school year. That's really a program designed for grades K-2, and we have expanded and enhanced our Here Builder program that will be coming out next week to support all those students as well. We work in our office to develop curriculum guides so that parents and families and teachers have a good sense of what should be covered in the content for grades K-5 across the continuum. And those are posted both on our website as well as in all of the Google Classrooms. As Ms. Moran mentioned, we try to support the teachers also in ways that they can share information in an organized manner with families through their Google Classrooms. So that's some of the work that we've been working on over the past few weeks.
So Marie, I'm sorry, we also just made sure that there was pickup times, right, for each building at both the secondary and the elementary. So if a parent was not able to come up, they can make accommodations with their principal to come in and get the math workbooks. And as our Foundations materials comes in, we'll also be sending out a secondary pickup date so that you can have those manipulatives at home.
We definitely are going to need a second pickup date. We know that a lot of materials from publishers are coming in now. It's just they were ordered in early July, but things like Scholastic News and Weekly Reader, we want to make them available for all families.
Can I just jump in with a question? You mentioned curriculum guides are on the website. Where might I find those?
Our
That-
curric-
Go ahead.
Our curriculum guides, there's a tab on our Sachem website under curriculum, and then if you go to the instructional page, they're listed under curriculum guides, and they've been updated for the year 2020 and 21.
So I know that we were working on, and we're going to get to technology soon, but we're working on creating a remote resource page. I'd like to see us have a place where everyone can go to one place. If I'm a remote learner, I'm a remote parent of a remote learner. How do I get all of that in one place? I know we're working on doing that, and perhaps, I don't know if curriculum guides necessarily would go there, but at least a pointer. So if there's an FAQ or something we could create, so people would know where to get them, as opposed to taking the entire curriculum and putting them on that page.
Right,
Thank
and
you.
then we can also make sure that these types of things are posted on our Google Classrooms for each remote learner. So if I'm going on to, Mrs. Smith's, there should, we could post some of those items as well, so that parents don't have to keep going back and forth. So I think it's probably nice for us to segue into Mr. McElhern, if you don't mind speaking about our special education supports.
Absolutely. Thank you. The IEPs are created for typical instructional environments. And as Dr. Pelletieri mentioned, we are far from a typical environment at this point. So when we're looking at IEP goals and accommodations for students, we are working to provide those supports to the best of our ability for students' safety, for students' instruction, for teachers' safety, for the student instruction. So we're really looking at each individual student on a case-by-case basis to determine what are the specific needs they have, and making sure that we are accommodating the IEPs to the best of our ability. We've gotten many concerns from parents about the level of instruction, the type of instruction that they're getting, the technology. So we are working diligently with all of the other departments to make sure that we are equitable for all students. We want to make sure that we're supporting the students while they're in remote instruction, while they're doing the hybrid model. And we also want to make sure that we're providing supports for our teachers as well, to make sure that they have the tools that they need in order to meet the needs of the students. So that's where we've been working. I've spoken to many parents up to this point. I come from a place where I am very child-centered about making sure we're providing services for students. So it's an ongoing process, and I thank everybody for their patience. And I keep trying to get back, and my office keeps trying to get back in touch with families as individual cases keep popping up. So we are working to provide more of a transition for those students.
Okay, we're going to have Mr. Renda, Mr. Lee Manuel. Go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Hines. Throughout the summer, we've been working with our teachers to provide instructional support for technology, running workshops on Google Classroom, Google Meet, and a variety of other software products that we provide. We also were excited to run 4 different parent workshops throughout the summer and into the school year. We just had our last one this past Tuesday. They were well attended, and we thank you for all those that were able to attend. But we do want to make sure that those workshops either continue in the form that we've been doing them, or at least that people have access to the content that was shared at them. So we have been able to record those sessions, and we'll be making those available. In addition, as Dr. Pelletieri had mentioned, we're looking to set up a resource on our Sachem webpage. So on the Sachem homepage, there will be a section that will be set up for remote learners. We'll be putting a lot of various information that would be coming from all the different people that are sitting here on the task force, but we'll also include a section for tech FAQs, as well as some tips and tricks that would be helpful for parents when you're home. We've been sharing some of that information already in the online resources that are available under the reentry opening resources on the webpage. But in addition to that, we're hoping that we can work to set up a tech support email. And this would be an address that you can go to send emails. Those emails would go into a queue, which would then be routed appropriately to the correct person to help you in the needs that you have. While we've been able to handle a lot of the different things that have been coming into the various offices, both from a login perspective as well as a tech perspective in general, we want to be able to do as much as we can to help in all situations. So while the district is currently working to fill the position that's going to be handling this, we will actually be starting it immediately to make sure that we're working to continue to help you and all the current needs that you have.
So, Jack, if I could jump in for 1 second. I'm a parent. My child is struggling with something. They want to avail themselves of this tech help. Should they start first? Where should they start first? Start with their teacher first? Like kind
Sure.
of walk through
Absolutely.
what might be helpful, please.
Sure. So in many situations, the students are having difficulty with their logons. It could be they don't know their username or they don't know their password, or perhaps they are unfamiliar with what the class code needs to be. All of that information is available through the teachers. They have resources to be able to provide that. When there are other issues that go beyond that, where for some reason those things are not working, then they would enlist the help of our team. And any of that information is going to be included in those FAQs for you. So this way you'll know who to go to for various concerns that you might have, whether they be things related to technology or related to the logon or related to maybe the use of Google itself. And we're hoping to be able to have a variety of different things in there that would be available resources or how-to sheets or small vignette videos that would help walk you through some of that stuff and give you the opportunity to ask more detailed questions in the email.
Some of these, the devices that folks have, they're not our devices. They're not district devices. So we would literally be almost setting up a help desk to try to help people with their own devices. And that's extremely difficult. So I appreciate your work, your department taking this on and Mike's team taking this on. We'll do the best that we can when it comes to that. But again, we don't have, those are not things where we could say, okay, we'll reset it for you. We'll do this. Some passwords, things like that. We can get information out, but there might be instances where we're not able to help. We're going to do the best. We're going to do the best we can in that instance. But at least we now have a place to go to, a pointer for people to try and get that help.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chiaramonte. you
Mike
wanna-
actually is going to talk a
I'm
little
sorry,
bit, I
Mike.
think,
Oh,
about
right.
some of the pilots that we're doing, right, Mike?
Absolutely, yeah. Regarding the remote learning pilot program, our team is working to ensure that the necessary technology is in each classroom, functioning and present to facilitate remote instruction. Going forward, if and when this is expanded, there will obviously be an increased demand in internet bandwidth. So we're looking to increase that. We're working with a couple of vendors to increase the internet bandwidth and identify the potential bottlenecks in our network infrastructure so we can maximize the use of that new bandwidth. Some of that work was already decided to be in the Smart School Investment Plan. We're just trying to accelerate that. And some of it is new work that we're looking to get done as quick as possible. Ultimately, our goal is to remove as many of the technology-related issues from the classroom to just let the teachers do what they do best.
Thank you. And I was in a pilot classroom the other day, and I could see that there are going to be difficulties. There was glare issues. There were issues with microphones and repeaters and all these. But I so appreciate this work and this team that has not stopped for a moment in terms of, okay, here's the obstacle. How do we get around it? And pulling in people from in the district, outside the district, teachers who've been so supportive, administrators, trying to work through these issues. Again, we cannot let things stand in our way when it comes to our kids, and we need to continue to work through those things. And because we don't have something now doesn't mean we can't try to get it tomorrow, the next day. We need to keep working through this. So I do appreciate that pilot. That is part of, as we've talked with parents around this approach to have several prongs, whether it's live streaming so that there is less pressure on outside class, just doing work outside the school day, or just by myself so we can live stream and get kids to attend the class, so to speak, virtually live. That would ultimately be a goal. Again, we don't have that infrastructure for it, but we are trying to build it piece by piece, package together what can work, and then replicate it in other rooms with other folks. So thank you.
And Mike, we are piloting throughout the district. So it's not just in one particular area, correct? We're doing it secondary level, different departments, and even in the elementary level.
Correct. And some of that there's Mac Labs. There's many different technologies that we're trying to work with. It's a good pilot program. It's a nice sample size to see how this can work and how we can make it better.
Awesome.
So are there teachers involved in that as well, right? There are
Yes.
administrators and might even students be able to offer feedback if they're part of a pilot classroom?
Mhm.
I mean, are we at that stage yet? I don't think we've done anything like at that stage yet.
I don't know about student interaction yet, but that would be up to the teacher. I'm sure, it's probably
If we
through
get
Google
to that
Classroom.
point where we're going to flip a switch one day and actually try it, I want to get kids involved in that as well, our students.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, for real now, Mr. Chiaramonte is going to chit chat about our social emotional opportunities that we have.
So one of my students said it best this morning. So I teach peer education at North, and I've been working for the last 9 years, K through 12 in the district, really working on the social emotional piece before the title was really bestowed on all of us in terms of its importance. And the one thing I've learned, and I love that you mentioned, Doc, is that the student feedback is so important. And that's really where, for this program, we get most of our information from the students. And when we were tasked with this new world for the time being here, my students came up with a lot of great ideas, because just as the elementary and middle and high school remote students, the students in building really do want these experiences that they have been watching as the years go on, these peer-to-peer activities. And you at home know with the remote learning piece, that social isolation really can affect a parent's heart watching this roll out. So one of the really cool things that the students have been coming up with is they really want to be like guest teachers or guest speakers into the remote learning classrooms. Because, in the past, we've been doing assemblies and large gatherings, classroom pop-ins under the SEL umbrella. And along with my partner, Lauren Gonzalez, we've been setting up schedules with teachers who are remote, where students can have that one-on-one or class-to-one experience with a senior in peer education under our guidance to help with those conversations, discuss social emotional well-being, reading aloud certain books. If a teacher was going to do a book for SEL, why not have the senior do it? So that interaction is so crucial. There's so many different things, and what's cool about this opportunity, it really is almost like one-on-one experience. You will have the classroom setting through the computer, but your child's needs will be met based on what they deem important with the student involved. So through the program that we have at North and at East, along with Teens as Teachers, we really could create content in the classroom based on the teacher that is working with these remote students' needs, so that it really is guided to your child and to the classroom. And cheesy as it sounds, the great philosopher Mrs. Doubtfire said, things that may be different, but it's just a bigger backyard. And that's really how we have to look at this. It's still school. We are still there for the children. We just have to look at it as it's a bigger backyard, and we will make sure that together we will get through this and the SEL piece will be met.
It's important to just note, thank you so much, John, because you probably know our robust program. So whether it's Project Kindness, or it's Cross the Line, or any of those other programs that we've been building, John and his team have been building over the years, these are additional programs now that we're offering to our remote learners and the like. But we're also looking at clubs, right, Dr. Pilatari, that we're looking to bring back in a various array of formats, so that both a remote learner, hybrids, and students that are here can take as an offering as well.
I think John reminded me that we are reinventing education K through 12 in terms of our remote students, our hybrid students. My son is taking AP Physics in the attic. He's in the attic learning AP Physics back at home, because that's the model that we have. It's his junior year, SATs, college coming up. He's in the attic. So I feel it like many parents feel, like we all do here, and we are concerned, and we're going to make it the best that we can for our kids. We're all in this struggle together, and we all have to get through it and make sure we clean up our backyard so it's nice for our kids as we go through this as best we can. And as we get better and better, we can help replicate this maybe in more and more places and fix this, not just Sachem, but across many other places.
Excellent. So I think it's a really natural time for us to talk a little bit about how are we going to continue to collect the feedback from our students, our staff, and you as families at home. So Ms. Graham?
Thank you. So while this is a brand new and unique experience, we also want to touch on some foundational things that have made Sachem great. And being a counselor, one of those things that makes Sachem great is our open lines of communication. And what I've been tasked to do is to ensure that we continue to build strong partnerships and communicate with all parties that are involved. And what we will plan on doing is we will have surveys that will be extended to both students, parents, teachers, and support staff to ensure that everyone who is on remote learning is getting a message across to Sachem, and we're communicating back with you what your needs are, what suggestions could be made, and any information that would be pertinent to remote learning. Yesterday, we did have a mental health support team meeting where counselors, social workers, psychologists alike spoke about the needs of students and especially remote learners. And we felt that that was something that is important for us to do moving forward, is to keep the lines of communication open. So look forward to seeing our surveys, and please respond honestly and openly so that we all are on the same page and that we can keep the lines of communication open to ensure that all remote learners are getting their needs met, rather. Thank you.
Leticia, do you want to maybe just elaborate a little bit too about what the counselors are doing for the remote learners? Because I know they're doing quite a lot of work for our families, just
Yeah.
in case a family didn't know, a support that they had.
Sure. So our counselors all have Google Classrooms and have been engaging with students virtually with counseling sessions, with senior conferences and financial aid workshops and college workshops, so that all of the things that have been taking place in district, no one actually misses out on, that the information is going forward both virtually and in person, so that parents and students feel the comfort of getting information or the comfort of access to their counselors on an ongoing basis. And it's as simple as going to the school's website, looking up your counselor's name and their Google Classroom, joining and or sending an email with any information that you might need, and the counselor will get back to you immediately.
Thank you. I turn it over to our wonderful Sachem Public Library, Kelly.
Hi, thank you. We are very happy to be continuing our collaboration between the schools and the libraries. It's an amazing friendship we have. We're like family, and we're happy to be here.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks, Kelly.
So the library is available to help support all students and families throughout the whole district. We have many different databases and resources that you can find on our webpage. One of our popular ones is called BrainFuse. It's an online free tutoring service that is available from 10 in the morning to 11 at night for all grades. In most subjects, it even deals with Common Core.
Do they have AP Physics?
I
was gonna
believe they
say,
do, yes.
What is my daughter taking at the high school right now?
I-
Brain Fuse is about to light up, I think, across Sachem.
It is free.
Free
just
tutoring.
Free tutoring. All you need is your Sachem Public Library card. If you do not have one, you can go to our webpage and apply right online, and they will mail you back your library card to your home. You don't even have to come to the library to get it.
Do we have your link on our webpage?
Yes.
Yes, we
do.
do.
Where is it? Do you know? Does anyone?
I know it's under a lot of the
It's not a
school
quiz. I mean, like,
libraries.
do we know?
I know, you're
Because
quizzing.
I don't know where anything is yet.
I know
maybe
a
as an
lot
upgrade
of the
we can put
school
it, yeah.
libraries have a link to our website under them.
So, but maybe we can also throw it on our remote resources page.
Yes.
Uh,
Just
as-
posted out to the teachers today, to the remote learning teachers. Miss Soma had shared a flyer, so that went out to them.
I was
Outstanding.
going to say, if there's a flyer of like all the fun, cool things that you guys are
Yes.
offering, that would be
Happy
amazing to put up there.
advertise it.
Yeah, so I mean, even if you just had one question and you didn't understand, or you wanted to be on there for an hour, there are tutors that are on there available. There's also skill building, so if you wanted to go on there and work on multiplications or study for a test, that's available. 24-hour writing lab is a service that you can upload a paper. They will proofread it, send it back within 24 hours with suggestions and corrections. You can take it or leave it, but they give you the explanation of why they're making those changes for you. Then on top of that, we also have plenty of ebook downloads available through our website. We have Overdrive and Libby. There are tons of different books on there. We have all the scholastic books that are the fiction, nonfiction, and then tumble books. So they are for kindergarten all the way through the high school level of different types of books. You can come into the library to pick up materials, or you can also use our curbside service where you can call us, email us, or send us a live chat. We can pull books for you and you can pick them up through our curbside.
The building is open, the computers are on, the teen homework room is up and running. So if you don't feel comfortable coming out yet, we still have all this stuff that's available online. Like Kelly said, curbside pickup. We have book bundles too. You can even call us and ask for recommendations for books for your child, and we can have them packaged up and ready and waiting for you to just come on by and don't even have to get out of the car.
That's pretty incredible. Thank you so much. Is there like Wi-Fi if I wanted to go there and do work? Could I do work during the day or the evening or something like that?
Absolutely. We have hotspots. We have Chromebooks that go out.
Oh, I wanted to ask about that. Yeah, do you now be careful, but do you lend devices to folks? Is it like lending a book out? Is it by need?
We
Like
do.
how does one do that?
We do. We lend out Wi-Fi hotspots if you're having trouble with your hotspots at your Wi-Fi at home. We do that, and we also lend out Chromebooks. The Chromebooks, I believe, are for 18 and over right now. The other ones we have you can use in the building. But we do have a series of Chromebooks that do go out. So if you're having trouble with your device at home for whatever reason, you can try the library. We might be able to provide that for you.
And our Wi-Fi service is available in the parking lot
Yes.
also. So that if you didn't want to come into the building, you can sit in the parking lot or into our inside out garden.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that
And sit
beautiful
in there.
garden. Yeah, I miss.
And then the Wi-Fi is available out there as well.
Yep.
It's part of our backyard.
Love it.
And I
Thank you so
believe-
much.
I believe that you have also supported families if they're looking for certain Lexile levels or an independent or guided reading level books, that you have those available and you can guide them as well. Is that correct?
Yes, we have an easy reader collection that is divided out into different Lexile or guided reading levels. If you let us know what your child is reading at, we can find the appropriate books for them.
And just to piggyback on that, because I know Ms. O'Doherty had spoken before, I've gotten quite a few phone calls and emails around guided reading and small group instruction. And so I know we threw out a lot of names about all the different subscriptions. So we will call together an information page so that you can see what each subscription is for, because we have spent and trained our staff to be able to use all of these different subscriptions. So whether it's Math Reflex for just basic numeracy skills, we're using iReady or HeadSprout for leveled reading. We do have it there. And so that's what you'll start to see rolling out. And as well as I know that there's been difficulty, families are a little overwhelmed with, if they're trying to print things, do things. But we are also starting to train our teachers on something called Kami, which allows them to have children write on top of whatever is posted on Google Classroom. So that's something that we're starting to introduce, and you're going to see our remote teachers utilizing as well.
Can I just ask a quick question? I've been getting a lot of emails about attendance in particular from folks. Children submitting work, but it's kind of glitchy, and then they're marked absent. Are we able to go back, Mrs. Hines, and retroactively fix those types of things when we're made aware of them? And who should people go to about that?
Right. Yes, absolutely. I know I've personally answered a couple of emails and had things changed. If you go in and you're seeing that your child sees that they have been marked absent, but they were in attendance, whether or not they were in a meet or they were completing their work, you would directly go to the teacher first to ask. If you don't get the change from there, then the principal. And then obviously after that, you would then move on to my office or any of our offices. We will have a chart of who you can contact for the various areas. But yes, and we also know too that, attendance is a little bit cumbersome. Maybe the kids can't get on at that particular moment. Just, let the teacher know. But, at the end of the day, if there's an issue, just let us know. We're able to fix it. We can retroactively go back.
So if I have a particular question about something with remote learning, let's say I have a special education child, should that go through you as the liaison? Should it go directly to Dennis, or how should I reach out?
Well, I always think that any time that you have a question about something instruction-wise, you should start with the teacher first. If that teacher is not able to give you the answer or suggest that you move further on, then Mr. McElhern, for example, since you're talking about special education, would be the next layer. And and that would be for anybody. Now
Principals
knowing
are
who
in
we
there
are.
as well, right? I mean, in terms of support.
Yes. Yes, the principal is always there as well. But I think to start first with, your teacher is the first layer.
And if you are in doubt, I would go right to Mrs. Hines
Yes.
in terms of if after, again, I've spoken to a teacher and said, I'm not certain about this or that or along those lines, just to make sure again, and then you can shoot out.
I'm
to
always
folks
happy to
where it
navigate and
goes,
send
navigate
to where it
that,
is.
yeah.
Well, I know we keep talking about the remote learning resource page, but on there will be our chart to just kind of remind you of where you can go for any of the different questions, the subscriptions that we have. This is something that is in the works. We're putting things on there on top of what you'll also see in your Google Classroom, so you don't have to go a few different places. But yes, at the end of the day, if all fails, just contact me and I'll get you to where you have to go.
And that page is not created yet, but it's going to be a link on our main page. Right now, there is a button or a link called Reopening Resources, and we have some items in there. But I think there we'll cut that in half. Or Jack, where will this go?
Ultimately, we were looking at that space to see if there was a way to carve it out. We're working right now with our vendor just to find out what the capabilities are in those boxes that are there. But one way or the other, there will be something right in that area, right on the homepage, just underneath the main news scroll area, that will have some different things in there. And that's where we would be hosting it, whether it's reopening and reentry versus remote learning. We just have to work on that space, and that's where it would be located.
Okay, and I'll ask that we just do that, get that up as soon as possible. Beautiful or not, right? Let's just get it up and get those resources out. And then we could do more around the page at another time if need be. So we have talked about, I made a little list here. We have created a remote learning liaison. We have a remote learning task force you see in front of you. We have technology. We have counseling. We have SEL. We have our leadership. We have special education. We have professional development and support for students and for staff. We have community support. Thank you so much to be a representative of our community here, the incredible part of our family, as I've known in Sachem. We come together when we need to, and so I'm so proud of this group for coming together. And I want people to know that our remote students are not forgotten students. Our remote families are not forgotten families. They are part of us. They are part of our family. We will continue to work through this. We will come back with more specific things as we need to go forward. We'll have more forums. We'll have more conversations. I would like it to be a little bit more interactive if we can, but it can't be my child has this or my child, that is best done offline and not on YouTube for those types of conversations. So we could try to make those at different levels, perhaps elementary, middle school, high school. And I will say this is not the end. This is the beginning. We started in a place, we built something, we're trying to improve it. We built something again now. I've said it many times. The plan that is today may not be the plan that is tomorrow, may not be the plan that is a month from now. We have to keep working at this and get better and better for our students, and we will. I want to thank everybody else here. Anything to add, Ms. Hines? Anyone need anything to add? Or
Yeah,
good?
I mean, I think you hit it on the nail. It was a very unusual start to our year. We were very pleased that everybody that physically came into school was able to move forward while we were also working out our remote plans. And so again, we just can't thank you enough for your patience and your support and all the feedback that we are getting. And we don't want to leave anybody behind. We don't want anybody to feel like they're not a part. I know another question that I keep getting is, well, now I'm a remote learner. Am I not a part of my home community? Of course you are. So if you are not still getting those school messenger, messages, you need to let us know that. If you have not seen yet that as an elementary remote child, you can come in just like our secondary for your class pictures or your individual pictures. Of course, you will be a part of that. Sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So when we do get those calls, it tips us off to, okay, well, we didn't think about that. Not meaning, well, like we didn't want to. It's just sometimes you just don't think about certain things. So the more that we can partner, the more that you can help us, and we can start moving ahead with these steps of what we're talking about here. I'm absolutely confident. And again, I'm honored to be leading this team to help all of you as students and families. and our staff. Our staff is working really hard round the clock, as you all know, and we're working on things to be able to build them more time to provide those resources on top of the live streaming pilots that we're conducting. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll just close with a quote I read once. If the only tool in your toolbox is a hammer, soon everything starts to look like a nail. I want to give our kids, our staff, as many tools as possible. I want to thank you all again for this opportunity and for providing these tools. We need to continue to do that, and we will. So thank you very much.